Hello everyone, today we're going to learn Bobikama Daf Pei Hey. We're going to start 4 lines down. So we said in the Mishnah that for tsar, for pain, you estimate how much a person, like such a type of person, is willing to take such a type of pain, how much you'd be willing to get paid to get such pain. Says the Gemara, how, when someone Reuven cut Shimon's hands off, and so he has to pay the value of the hand. We estimate how much Shimon is worth before and after in the market of slaves. How do we estimate the nezek? Omar Abur de Shmuel, says the father of Shmuel, we see how much a person is willing to take and for the pain of cutting off his hand, not for the value of the hand, just for such type of pain. Says the Gemara, if you're looking at cutting off his hand, it's not when someone calculates, sorry, it was a mistake, how much will a person take to cut off his hand? Says the Gemara, cutting off his hand, he'll calculate not only tsar, he has okulu chamoshin for an ika. He's going to say, oh, I need also doctor fees, I'm not going to be able to work, etc., etc. That's not only the pain. Who's the person who'll be willing to take money to cut off his hand? Elo, says the Gemara, it's talking about someone who has a hand that's not working, but it's still on, and how much you'd be willing to accept to cut off that hand that's not working. Says the Gemara, it's not only tsars. Why? But tsar boishasika. Someone who has a hand that doesn't work is one thing, but it's much more embarrassing. People don't know, maybe they're thinking he's not using his hand. But someone who has no hand, the hand's totally disconnected, it's much more embarrassing. That's not only the pain, it's also the embarrassment. Someone who the paskin, the kingdom said we have to cut off your hand. So how much is he willing to accept to get his hand cut off? There's a difference. He could get his hand cut off with a sam that doesn't hurt, and he could take it, cut off his hand with a sword. So the difference between that's how much is tsar. He wouldn't be willing to accept money and cut off his hand with a knife. For sure he'd go with saif. For sure he'd go with a sam that doesn't hurt. Not how much is he willing to accept that instead of that it should be by sam, it should be by saif. No, the guy from the king is coming to cut off his hand, and he says, you know what, I'll pay you money and do it without pain, do it with a sam. How much money is he willing to pay? That's the amount that you pay tsar. It says more a high little. It says in the Mishnah, we said, how much is willing to accept? Here it's not little, it's litin. How much is willing to give? Mi boy, it should say. It should say, mi boy le. Omar Rav Huna Breder Rav Shua, little mizeh, mashenosan lezeh. What does that mean? When it says litoil, litoil is we take from the mazik how much a person be willing to give to get saved from cutting off his hand with a knife and getting cut off with no pain. That's the amount that we noitel from the mazik. When it says litoil means that the mazik will need to pay. But obviously, how do we estimate how much he's willing to give? Ripoy. It says the Mishnah Ripoy, how do we do refuah, how do we estimate it? If you hit him chayav rapoisoi, he needs to pay for his medicine fees. Ton rabbanon learned oluboy tzmochim achmas hamako. There was some mugla, it's called machmas hamako, because of the wound, v'nistero, and he came worse again. Amako chayav rapoisoi, he still has to pay for medicine fees. V'chayav litilid meshifto, and he has to pay unemployment. If it happened not because of the wound, he doesn't have to pay for his medicine fees, and doesn't have to pay him his unemployment fees. Even if it happened because of the wound, chayav l'rapoitzo, you do need to make him better. You have to pay refuah. Ve'einu chayav litin l'dmei shiftoi. You don't need to give him the sheves. So Tanakama holds you need to give him also sheves and also refuah. Rabbi Yehuda holds you give him refuah, not sheves, not unemployment. V'chachomim are in they say the third shit are shiftoi v'refuah. So if you go together, kol shechayav b'sheves, chayav b'rifui. If you chayav in unemployment, you have to pay for medicines. Ve'she'einu chayav b'sheves, and if you don't have to pay unemployment, einu chayav b'ripui. And in this case, they hold like Rav Yehuda that you don't need to pay unemployment, so therefore you don't also have to pay for medicine fees. So the Gemara Mike Mifligi, what's the machloikis about? Omar Rabash Gichtinu, I found the Rabbanon Beber Rab. The Rabbanon in the Beis HaMedrash, the Ashvi the Omri, and they were saying Ocha b'mako nitne le'eged kum mifligi, that the machloikis is, is a person allowed to put around the wound cloths to warm him up? Let's see Rashi. Nitno le'eged, nitno reshus la'nechba lo'oigdo lo'otfa p'nei tzaratzino, because the cold hurts his wound, and therefore oilim atzmochim, and that causes a muglatika. Mach masever v'choy me'eged, so that cold, he wants to protect himself from the cold because he's cold, so he puts in it like a bandage, and that makes more issues. Rabbanon Savri, Rabbanon hold mako nitno le'eged. You're allowed to put it on, and therefore the mazik needs to pay for the damage that happens from that. Rabbi Yehuda Sova mako no nitno le'eged. Mako, you shouldn't put around it a cloth. Ripui, the tone beikro, ripui that says rapu you wrap it says twice, mechayev. You need to pay. Sheves the loy tone beikro, it doesn't say twice in the Torah. Sheves loy mechayev, you don't need to pay for the unemployment. That's what the people in the Beis Medrash, Rabbanim in Beis Medrash said. V'aminele, and I told the V'aminelehu, and I told them, says Rava, I told the Rabbah, I told the Talmidim in the Bei Rav, I myself, no. If you're not allowed to put on cloth on your wound, why should you pay for any medicines? Elo, pshat is the kula alma mako nitno le'eged. You're allowed to put in a cloth around your wound to protect you from the cold. But lo nitno le'eged yetera, but you can't put in too much bandages on it. Rabbi Yehuda Sova came the lo nitno le'eged yetera, since you shouldn't put on too much bandages, and he did. Ripui, medicine, the tone beikro that says twice rape mechayev, you need to pay. Sheves, unemployment, the loy tone beikro, it doesn't say twice. Loy mechayev, you don't need to pay. Rabbanon Savar, Rabbanon hold no. Came the tone beikro beripui, since it says twice rape by ripui, to tell you that also in such a case you need to pay for medicine fees. A sheves nami mechayev, you also have to pay the sheves, the itkash ripui, that it's written next to each other and they connected. Rabbi Yehuda Sova, no, sheves loy mechayev the miut ikro, because there's a miut in the pasuk. It says rak shifter itain. The rak is saying that for this case where you put extra bandages, you don't need to give sheves. Rabbanon rak is coming to exclude l'shloi machmas hamako u'dosa. It's coming to say that if something happened not because of the wound, in such a case you don't need to pay the unemployment. Rabbanon Basroi in the third chapter, because we had Tanakama, and then we had Rabbi Yehuda, and then we had Rabbanon at the end. The Amri who say kol shechayev b'sheves, if you need to pay for unemployment, chayev b'ripu, you need to pay also for medicine. The kol she'ein chayev b'sheves, if you don't need to pay for unemployment, ein chayev b'ripu, you don't need to pay for medicine. Ripui, the Tonei Beikro Lomali, why did it say twice in the Torah, Rape? Bishleim Rav Yehuda on the first Tanakama, they needed to tell you that even if you put on extra bandages, you still need to pay Ripui. But if you Rabbon Basrai, what's Pshat? Says the Gemara in Boylake, the Tonei Beir Rabbi Shmuel, you need it for like what Rabbi Shmuel learns, the Tanya de Beir Rabbi Shmuel Oima, Rape. From here we'll learn Mikan, Shinitan, Rishus, Laroipe, Larafois, that you're allowed to go to a doctor. It's a big chiddush. Bepashtus, if Hashem gave you an illness, daven to Hashem. Well, you're going to go against Hashem's will and make it better? The Torah is mechadish. No, you're allowed to go to the doctor. Hashem gave power to the doctors, and you're allowed to go to the doctor. But today, doctors many times say, this guy is going to live. They tell a person, yeah, you have 2 months. That's a issa goma of the doctors to say the only rishus doctors have to do is to make people better. They have no right to tell a person how much life he has, because they have no idea and it's not in their control. They could say maybe your matzav is not good, you should daven, you should, I don't know, do exercise, be happy, I don't know, or, you know. But to tell a person how much he has to live, it's Rishus Gemara. And Rav Nachman, the Heilige Rav Nachman used to say that Roifim and Roitzchim, they kill us many times, because many times they do procedures that are not needed and they think they know everything and they feel like God. How do we know that if you had this mugla, it's like wetness underneath the wound, that because of the hit, because of the wound, and it became worse against Shechaver Apoiso, and he has to also pay him his unemployment. Talmud loima shifto itein with nogers the rak. Shifto itein v'rape. It's coming to tell you that you have to pay, even if they became better and became worse again. You might think even if it's nothing to do with the room. Talmud loima rak. It says no. The rak is coming to mimayit. That only if it's machmas hamako. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yudo, af machmas hamako potter. Even if it's because of the wound you potter. Shenem rak. He learned that the excluding of rak is also coming to tell you if you became better and worse again, that you don't need to pay. Some people say, so some people say that when Rabbi Yosef really said, it means it doesn't have to pay not Sheves and not Ripui. Rabbanon Basroi, like the last Rabbanon in the Brisa before. Some people say, some people say, when it says is from unemployment, Keman, who is that? He's going like Avor, like his father, like Rabbi Yudah in the Brisa before, who said that you do need to pay Ripui, but you don't need to pay Sheves. Omar Mar, we learned, you might have think that because if it happened not because of the wound, that you need to pay. Talmud lo yumarak. We learn from the pasuk of the excluding that if it's not to do with the wound, you don't need to pay. Ask the Gemara, why do you need the pasuk if it's nothing to do with the wound? Why should I need to pay for his doctor fees? Amri, says the Gemara, what is it talking about when we say that it's not because of the wound? Kedetani, like we learned in the Brisa, Aresha of our Divra Roife, he didn't listen to the doctor's rules, and he ate honey that's not good for the wound, or all type of sweet stuff, because of honey, the kol mine mitika and sweet stuff, koshin amako, not good for the wound, ve'elo makosa gartuni, and because of that, his wound got gartuni, it's something that grew on it, something not good. I'm just trying to find where Rashi says on gartuni. Oh, the Gemara is going to explain, right. So maybe you'll need to pay for the refuah, because at the end of the day, because of the wound that happened, without the wound, even if he'd eat honey, nothing would happen to him. Talmud loima rak. That because it's his fault that he ate these unhealthy foods, so we don't need to pay for that extra doctor fees. My garatuni, why that? Omar Bai nata krichta. Dead skin. Dead meat. Maya sute, how do you get it better? Ahala. It means it's a type oil, it says here. Aluin, belaz. Vikira and wax. Vikalba, and it's something that's in the barrels of wine, and that makes it better. Now the Gemara says a new thing. The Mazik says to the Nizak, I don't want to pay doctor fees, I'll make you better. I'm a doctor, I'll make you better. The Nizak tells him, Domis like Arya Arba, you hit me, you cut my hand off, you look to me like a lion who's hunching to kill me. I don't want you to make me better. If the Mazik says, my sina asya demogin b'mogin, I have a free doctor from a chesed organization, he's going to make you better. Malay, the Nizak tells him, asya demogin b'mogin, a free doctor, mogin shavia is worth free, he's worth nothing, he won't do a proper job. V'yomar ma'asinu loch asti rechika. If the Mazik says, I have a doctor in the next town, I'll bring him over to take care of you. Omalei v'nizak asti rechika, for doctor, Eina Avira, he has a blind eye, he can't see what's going to me, he doesn't see me every day in the market or in shul and sees what's going on. Someone close by sees the process. If the Nizak says, Avli lididi, give me please the money of medicine fees, I'm a doctor, I'll take care of myself. Omalei, the Mavik says, Poshas benafshoch, you won't do a good job, and then you'll say, oh, I need more money for medicine fees. You know what? Give me a fixed price. You think the doctor fees are £1,000? Give me £1,000. I'll never speak to you again about these doctor fees. So you can't say I'm going to do a bad job and come for more money. Even more, you know you can't get more money from me, you won't do a good job. But 10 years later, instead of that your hand will be better, your hand will still have marks in it because you didn't do a good job. And people will say, oh, you know who did these marks? Reuven. I don't want people to say it. I want a proper doctor to get you better. Tona, we learned in the Brisa, that all these arbor dvorim instead of nezek, we talk about tsar, sheves, ripu, boishes, they all pay. Even when there's nezek, you still pay these things. You know, Animili, where do we learn this from? Omar Mishmedorova, Omar Kro, it says in the Apostle, Petza tachas petza, litin tsar b'mokim nezek. Not only you have to pay the damage, you also have to pay for the pain. Says the Gemara, don't we need this for Rabbi Shogeg Kamezi to tell you that doesn't matter if you damage someone on purpose or not on purpose, if you any situation that you cause damage, you need to pay. So the Gemara, why it's a pasuk should say petza bepetza. Say petza bepetza, my petza tachas petza. Why did it say a petza under a petza? Shema min authority. It's coming to tell you also doesn't matter if you're oines or shoigig, you need to pay, and also it's coming to tell you that even though you pay nezek, you still have to pay tsar. Rapapa mishpeder Omar Kro. A different pasuk. It says v'rapa yirape. It says twice. Litin refor b'mokim nezek to tell you they don't have to pay only nezek. You also have to pay for medicine fees. So that's how we know you pay medicine fees even b'mokim nezek. Said the Gemara, we need it like the Tonnet Be'er Shmuel who learned on Amud Aleph. The Tonnet Be'er Shmuel, Rapa Yerapa, mi can't shnit no rishus l'orei l'rapa. It's a rishus for doctors to make people better. So we need this. How could you tell me that it's coming to tell you Ripu b'mokim nezek? So the Gemara, nichtov krov v'roife Yerapa. It should say that the doctor should make you better. Why did it say v'rapo yerape? Shema mino litin refor mokim nezek. It's coming to tell you that not only you have to pay for the damage, you also have to pay doctor fees. Asa Gemara bakati miboile lekidamor. What we said on Amud Aleph earlier, lemisne beikro beripu, to say that even if the wound became worse because he put the extra bandage on, you still need to pay. So the Gemara came lame kro or rape. Should say all rape the same word, or rape, or both the same word of yirape. My yirape. Why did it change? Shmamim no, it's coming to tell you litin refor b'mokim nezek. To say that even if you pay the damage, you need to pay for the medicine. So we can learn three things out of rape yirape. Says the Gemara, Michlal shmamim lotin refor. Since you say the Chiddush, we want to be Mechayev you, even though they pay the damage, you still have to pay for medicine. It's mashma that there's a case where there's medicine without nezek. So says the Gemara, what's the case that there's no damage, but there is pain and there is medicine fees? Says the Gemara, Tsar. How do we know what's the case? Tsar kivoi b'shepot, he burnt him with a metal rod or b'masmo or a nail. V'afilu atziporno, even on his nail. Mokom she'eino isechabro, in a place where there's no wound, so there's no nezek, but there's still pain. Ripui dave koivle midi, something was hurting him. V'solik v'aisele samech harifa, and he gave him very strong pain, like medicine. And he made his meat, his skin white. So in value he didn't go down, but you still need to give him medicine and to bring back the color to his skin. Sheves, what's the case of Sheves? They need to play on unemployment without nezek. The Atke bin Dura, he put him he locked him up, ubatle, and he couldn't work. Boishes, what's the case? Directly be'ape, he spit on his face. There's no nezek, there's no damage in the value of this person, but there's embarrassment. We learned in the Mishnah Sheves, unemployment. We look at him as a cucumber god. Ton Rabbanon, Sheves, as if he's guarding cucumbers. How much he gets paid? Very minimum. That's how much he gets paid. And if you're gonna ask me, it's not correct. This is not yashrus. If this guy will get better, if this guy will be healthy, lav agra the shemikishum the shokil. He wasn't a cucumber security. Elo dolidav of a shokil agra. He would go to the well and bring water to people. That's paid much more than someone who's just sitting in the garden to look after your cucumbers. Inami other bishlichus. He'd go as a messenger of a shokil agra. He'd get paid better. So the Gemara midas adin loy lok. So no, there's no chisaron over here. Shekvar nosan loy meyadoy vid miraglo, because he paid already nezek. That's the value of how much a hand is worth, because how much a slave is worth without a hand, without a hand. That's how much you could use your hand. So that you already paid. So that they can't go anymore on messengers. He paid that. Now it's only to pay the unemployment. That even without a hand, he could still work as a cucumber protector. Omar Rava says Rava Kotes Yodo Notinid Mo Yodo. He pays him with his hand. Vesheves and unemployment during Moise Kilu Shoymikishuim. He's someone who's looking after cucumbers. Shibers Ragloi, he broke his leg. Noisinid Me Ragloi, he has to pay the value of the leg. Vesheves and unemployment during Moise Kilu Shoymes a Pesach, as if he's a bouncer or protecting a house, because the Shomek Yishuim can't be without a leg. Not like I told you the other day, because he can't chase after the ganav. Simas Eino, he blind his eye. Noisinid Me Eino, he pays for eye. Vesheves and unemployment during Moise Kilu Matchino Berichaim, someone whose job is just to turn the Rechaim around, because you don't need to see for that. Hirsho, he made him deaf. He has to give him his full value, because someone's deaf can't really do nearly any job. Boy Rava, asked Rava Shaila, Kites Yodo, Reuben cut off Shimon's hand. Veloyam Duan, we didn't go to Bezdin to estimate how much the hand's worth. And then Shiberes Raglo, he broke his leg. Veloyam Duan, we didn't go to Bezdin to estimate his leg. Shimois Eino, he blinded him. Veloyam Duan, we didn't estimate how much the eye is worth in Bezdin. Basoif, at the end, Chirsho, he made him deaf. Now, what's the din? Since we didn't estimate each thing by itself, you could do one umdin, and now you go to Bezdin, and he pays the full amount, how much is the person worth. But if you're going to do Bade Adodi altogether, and that's a certain value, let's say £1 million, or maybe we say Chode Amrinan. You say first you look at his hand, then his leg, then his eye, and only afterwards and everything. And you give it to him. Nafkamina, the boy may simulate Sarah Boishes, the Chol Choda V'Choda. And the Nafkamina is that if you look at each time separately, each time there's pain, each time there's embarrassment, and do you look at it separately, or you look at all on one thing? Since at the end he made him deaf, and that's a full value of a person, so only one time he has to pay these things. So the Gemara, you don't need to pay him for each one. The cave and the curve, since he gives him the full value of a human, it's like he killed him. It's like he's giving him his full value. Take the money and do with it what you want. And he gave him the full value. But pain and embarrassment, he should pay for every damage. He should pay the embarrassment and the pain. He had embarrassment and he had pain and embarrassment from each single time, from the hand, from the leg, from the eye, from the ear. So the Gemara, if you want to tell Kevin, since we didn't estimate him, he pays for his full value and he's off the hook. Kevin, and that's it. What did Dinifam do? He knocked off his hand and they went to Bezdin, and Bezdin said it's worth X. And then he knocked off his leg and Bezdin said it's worth X, etc. Now, Me amrin kevendum do, since we estimated each value chod boile mesa, he has to pay for each time Bezdin Paskin on the hand 10,000, on the leg 50,000, on the eye 250,000, and then for the ear 1,000,000. So he has to pay all those money that add up. Or Dilma, maybe Kevin de Loisholim, since he didn't pay it, he gives him the full value of a person, and he's off the hook. He doesn't have to pay anything else. So the Gemara Tishbi Yetaretz Kuishis Viboyes. Tishbi will answer us all our shilas Be'ez Hashem very quickly. Everyone should have a very blessed, happy day.